Is it true? Could there actually be studies that show evidence for astrology? Let's talk about it. Hi everyone, it's Luna, and in this new astrology series that I'm starting here on YouTube, I'm going to have 4 different videos for you in total about evidence for astrology. Because I don't see a whole lot of people talking about scientific evidence for astrology, but there was so much of it when I started researching this that I had to make it into multiple videos. So in this first video, we're going to go over 4 different studies that strongly point to astrology being real. So get excited. And just so everyone's aware, when I do videos like this where I'm showing a lot of evidence for things, I go a lot off of my notes. So I'm going to be looking down at my computer screen. So if that's distracting, just have the video playing in the background. Just be doing your normal daily routine while you listen to this. Just bear with me because this is a lot of information and it's fascinating. This is super interesting stuff. Before we get into the topic, I think it's important to distinguish what I mean by astrology because a lot of people tend to have big misconceptions about what astrology actually means. So I'm going to explain the difference first between what we would call tabloid astrology and real astrology. So tabloid astrology, such as horoscopes, a lot of people have heard of those, is often viewed as a form of entertainment that provides general, vague predictions about a person's future based on their astrological sign. And these predictions are often based on a person's sun sign and only their sun sign. For example, my sun sign is Libra. But you also have things like your moon sign, your ascending sign, your Mars, your Mercury. All these other planets have signs attached to them for every person. We're not just our sun sign. So your sun sign being used in horoscopes is just a simplified version of astrology that only takes into account a person's birth date and assigns them only one of the 12 zodiac signs. So that's something to keep in mind. Whereas real astrology, on the other hand, is a complex and nuanced system of divination that takes into account not only a person's sun sign, like I said, but also the positions of other planets, the moon, and other celestial bodies at the time of their birth. Astrologers use this information to create a natal chart. If you haven't looked up yours before, Cafe Astrology, that website is fantastic for getting a free reading of your astrological chart. So a natal chart or birth chart, which provides a detailed snapshot of a person's personality, strengths, weaknesses, and life events. So while horoscopes and tabloid astrology can be fun and entertaining, they're often seen as a simplified and superficial version of real astrology. Real astrology involves a deep understanding of astronomy, mathematics, and symbolism, and is often studied and practiced by trained professionals who have spent years honing their craft. The key difference between tabloid astrology and real astrology lies in their level of complexity and the depth of insights they can provide. While horoscopes may provide general guidance and predictions based on a person's sun sign, real astrology can provide a much more detailed and personalized understanding of a person's life and future. And I can say this from experience. Once you get into real astrology and the complexities of it, you will start seeing how much this applies to every person you know according to their chart. You'll start seeing all the patterns and understanding it a lot better and how it is nothing like tabloid astrology. Another thing to note is a lot of people believe that astrology means that the planets literally control you and give you no free will or anything like that, like, oh, Mercury's in retrograde, so, everything is just going wrong in my life, so I'm going to be acting like a mean person right now because it's just Mercury in retrograde or whatever. And no. So the idea of the planets controlling you is a very basic way of looking at astrology, and it's not really how it is. Influence is different than control. So planets influence us. So in a future video, we're going to get into the example of the moon for a little bit, about how the moon has an effect on us, and we know that I should save this information for that video, but the whole idea of lunacy, for example, was started from the idea that the moon can affect our behavior and things like that. And a lot of people believe that the moon has to do with menstrual cycles and things like that. We're going to get into all that. But you see, that's not the moon controlling you. That is an influence. So you may or may not have a strong reaction from it, but it is influencing you rather than controlling you. That's more of how I view astrology, and also how professional astrologers tend to view it. Is it's not a control, it's an influence. Also, another thing to keep in mind is everything in the universe is connected. So another perspective is that the planets aren't really influencing us. It's more like the events that are going on are all part of a whole. So things that happen on Earth are correlating with things that are happening with Mercury and things that are happening with Pluto, different things like that. Because when you pull the strings of one thing happening in one part of the universe, they're affecting another part of the universe, kind of like quantum entanglement. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So let's get into these 4 different studies that may significantly support astrology being a real and reliable system. Number 1, a lot of you have heard of Carl Jung, who is a renowned Swiss psychologist and founder of analytical psychology. So he conducted research on the concept of synastry, which refers to the study of how 2 birth charts interact with each other. Jung was a strong believer in the connection between astrology and psychology, and he saw synastry as a way to gain insights into the dynamics of human relationships. This is something a lot of people don't know that Carl Jung did, so this is fascinating. So Carl Jung's study on synastry involved analyzing the birth charts of married couples to see if there were any patterns or correlations between their planetary placements. He found that couples who had certain astrological placements in common tended to have stronger relationships, while couples who had conflicting placements were more likely to experience challenges and conflicts. Jung's study is a testament to the power of astrology to provide insights into human behavior and relationships. By looking at the birth charts of 2 individuals, an astrologer can gain a deeper understanding of the compatibility and potential challenges, allowing them to offer guidance and advice to help the couple navigate their relationship. So believe it or not, that is actually not one of the 4 studies. I have even more. So there was a study called An Empirical Study of the Relation Between Astrological Factors and Personality, published in 1985 in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin. It sought to investigate the connection between astrological factors and personality traits. The researchers collected data on the birth dates, birth times, which is very important, and birthplaces over 15,000 individuals, and analyzed the correlations between astrological factors such as sun sign, moon sign, and planetary positions, and personality traits such as extroversion, neuroticism, and openness. The study found that there were statistically significant correlations between certain astrological factors and personality traits. For example, individuals with Aries and Gemini sun signs tended to be more extroverted, while those with Scorpio and Capricorn sun signs tended to be more introverted. The study also found correlations between planetary positions and personality traits, such as strong Venus placement being associated with high levels of agreeableness. And as someone who is under Venus, because I'm a Libra, yes, I am a very, very agreeable person, and it's something I've actually had to work on. It can bite you in the butt sometimes. So that's true for me. This study provides empirical evidence of the connection between celestial bodies and human behavior. By understanding the correlations between astrological factors and personality traits, astrologers can offer insights and guidance to help individuals navigate their lives and relationships more effectively. So the second study is called Statistical Analysis of the Birth Charts of Serial Killers, conducted by Dutch statistician Jan Ruijs in 2004. He sought to investigate the astrological patterns and factors that may be associated with serial killers. So this is pretty interesting. Ruijs analyzed the birth charts of 100 known serial killers and compared them to a control group of non-serial killers. He found that there were statistically significant differences in the birth chart placements of the two groups, including a higher incidence of certain planetary placements in the charts of the serial killers. This study highlights the potential dark side of astrological patterns and placements. While astrology is often used as a tool for self-discovery and personal growth, it is important to acknowledge that there can be negative manifestations of certain placements, particularly when combined with other psychological and environmental factors. So the third study is from Dr. Souza Fusaro Brace, a Brazilian veterinarian and astrologer, who conducted a study on the relationship between the birth charts of dogs and their behavior. So this doesn't just apply to human beings. Dr. Brace collected data on the birth dates, times, and locations of over 500 dogs and analyzed their birth charts to look for correlations between planetary placements and behavioral traits. The study found that there were statistically significant correlations between certain planetary placements and specific behavioral traits in dogs. For example, a strong Mars placement was associated with high levels of energy and aggression, while a strong Venus placement was associated with affection and sociability. This study highlights the potential applications of astrology beyond human psychology and relationships. By understanding the astrological factors that may influence a dog's behavior, veterinarians and dog owners can better understand and address behavioral issues, leading to happier and healthier relationships between humans and their furry companions. So I think that one's really cute. And number 4, lastly, is the Stargate Project, which was a secret program run by the U.S. government from the 1970s to the 1990s, which investigated psychic phenomena and their potential military applications. So this is a declassified CIA document that was released about this essentially long study that was done called the Stargate Project. And I would do a deep dive into it if I were you, if you're interested in this, because it goes way beyond anything to do with astrology. It's all about psychic phenomena, and I particularly like the part in it about remote viewing. So it's very interesting. In one portion of the declassified document, researchers consulted with an astrologer to see if certain astrological events, such as the position of Mars in relation to the moon, could have an impact on remote viewing abilities. How interesting is it that the government would seriously research not only psychic abilities, like remote viewing, but also go a step further to see how astrology plays a part in it? I don't know about you, but I find that fascinating. This study highlights the potential connections between astrology and other fields, such as psychic phenomena and military intelligence. While astrology is often seen as a niche or new age practice, its potential applications and connections to other fields are vast and varied. In conclusion, astrology is a complex and nuanced field that offers insights into human behavior, relationships, and potentialities. So while tabloid astrology, like we discussed, may generalize and oversimplify these concepts, real astrology takes into account the positions of all the celestial bodies and offers a more nuanced and detailed analysis. These studies presented here highlight the potential applications and connections of astrology to other fields, as well as its potential for both positive and negative manifestations. So I just want to point out once again, astrology is more of what I would call a personality typing system that has to do with the time of year you're born. And if you think about it, psychology teaches us that our environment has a big part to play in how our personality develops. And I think that's so true. And the things that we like, the foods that taste good to us, how we interact with our families and our friends, so much of this has to do with our environment ever since the time we were a little baby. And if you think about it, the time of year you're born would definitely have an effect on how you turn out as a person, at least in some way. And there's actually been studies on that, and we're going to talk about those in a future video in this series. So be sure to stay tuned for that. So like other personality typing systems, I think it's so important to get to know who you are and what your tendencies are, because once you find out both the good and the bad tendencies within yourself, you can better control it and self-actualize. You can actually use these things to control your life and live as the best version of yourself. And it's definitely been helpful for me to learn these things. So thank you for watching, everyone. If you made it this far in the video, be sure to leave the secret word of the day in the comments, which is the word psychic. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to see more videos like this. If you do that, you'll never miss a future video. Sometimes if you just subscribe, it won't show you my new videos, and you're definitely not going to want to miss the videos coming up in this series. So be sure and hit the bell so you don't miss a future video, and take care. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.